Now I want to give you an example of Tamara doing the same thing, that hoe down snatch combination that you just watched Ryan doing in the lesson. And I want you to really pay close attention to just how aggressively in the actual snatch she pulls back on that bar and what that does for the barbell and consequently for her lift. So in this lift here, you're going to notice it's kind of like an imaginary wall, and she's keeping that bar behind the wall the whole time by pulling backwards into her neck. I mean, it might, again, like it seems weird to have the bar go back into your neck on the pull and have that somehow be related to something you end up doing on the snatch, but it's actually quite true. See that right there? She's pulling back. Look at her face. She's pulling on this fucking bar. She's pulling back on that bar like a psycho, and it's preventing it from going forward past this imaginary wall. She could snatch right in front of a brick wall, and she would make that lift. So no matter how hard she hit this bar there at the hip, see that right there? She's not swinging it way out in front, because even if it had some forward trajectory, which I'm sure it does, it always has to when it comes off the hip, she's pulling so hard, so immediately on that bar that it stays way, way, way back. In fact, so close, look at that, it's almost hitting her forehead. I mean, she's really getting that fucker back. And so that's something that you're practicing every single time you do one of these hoedown pulls. You're swan rowing that fucker right into your neck and under full control. See that? She's not letting it go past her face, because that would mean it was floating. She didn't have control on the bar. She's pulling backwards on that bar, and she does the same thing when she comes up here on the full snatch. She's actually, I mean, I would say maybe even more aggressive. Look at that. She's just fucking slamming that bar backwards, and it prevents it from ever going forwards. Look at that. I mean, it's like almost perfectly straight. It has a little curve on it, but only right there at the top in order to get back into position. So it never gets past her base. See that right there? Here it is on top of her base. It never goes beyond that. Just watch that bar. See that? It's straight up. Boom. I mean, it really, boom. She hits it there, and she just pulls that fucker back where it needs to be. And in doing so, she slams her body down. You'll even notice, by the way, in the full snatch, she does better with her knees. So she's kind of half-assing the knees thing here. Right there. Like, knees aren't really up as high as they could be. But, weirdly enough, she actually pulls it off real well in the actual snatch. Boom, the knees get pretty high. And so she really gets herself under that bar really quickly by way of thinking of pulling up and back on the bar and pulling up on her knees. She's not thinking of going down. She's thinking of, I need to get this fucking barbell back as hard as I possibly can and get those knees up at the same time. And it works to make sure that that barbell isn't flying forward. So bar path analysis is cute and all, but it only helps if you have something to work on to actually fix the problem, not just to sit there and stare at it. So this is one big way in which you can fix a problem with your bar flying all over the place, is get really good at rowing that fucker back into your neck during the hoedown pull, and then you'll start doing the same thing during your snatches. You might decapitate yourself, but so long as you don't die, it's going to end up with you snatching more weight and looking more badass while you do it.